Oh, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Dan in the building with Let That Be Known podcast. We here to talk about the Dallas Mavericks, who fell short to the Houston Rockets. We're here to discuss the game and where the team is headed and what we think needs to improve. And here's my co-host.
Hey, what's up, fam? This is your boy John. Grab yourself something to drink, sit back and relax, and let that be known. Sports. What's going on, man? What's going on, fam?
Nothing much, man. Was going through the box score of this game and looking at several things, and I came up with to a conclusion that as of right now, this team doesn't do anything well. We're not defending well. We're not scoring well. We don't do the little things well. We don't rebound well. I hustle. We don't hustle well. Like we're not doing anything at a high level. And this is why, like, we've been in a lot of close games is because we don't do anything at a high level. Now, when they decide to do things at a high level, you can clearly see the difference. Like when they step up, like in the Minnesota game, when you seen them need to get stops, like you can clearly see, like, okay, yeah, but it's been an off and on switch, and I was afraid that they was gonna come in and let this one go. Now I know they coming out, they had a back to back game, so but this is not about this, about how every game has been looking. And they have been getting off to nonchalant starts and then trying to fight in the second half. And so it works, but you can't be down 20 and do that. Now, if they down like 6 to 10 points like they was to Minnesota, then yeah, you can, come back and do what you need to do in the second half. But just looking at this, like we're not shooting well. Luka's in some kind of nasty slump where he's not really shooting well, he's not playing well. Um, Kyrie's playing okay. Clay is playing okay, but we don't really have consistent 3-point shooting, and it's really, really, really hurting Dallas because when they get good looks, they're not making other teams pay, and so it's turning what it is turning into fast breaks for the other team. And then the biggest thing is rebounding. Like we can't rebound defensively. Like it looks like almost like the 2020 team all over again. Like we can't rebound. Like I think they out rebounded us. I think they had what 57 rebounds to our 37, 36 or something like that.
Uh, 50 to 37.
Yeah, like that's not like you can't do that. Like, and I don't even know how many offensive. Let me see how many offensive rebounds these guys had.
18.
So you give up
Yeah, 18
18,
offensive
18
rebounds.
rebound, 18 offensive rebounds. Like you gave up almost 20 second chance points. That's how you have to look at it. So you gave up almost 20 second chance points. Like you can't win like that, no matter who you play. If you're gonna give a team 20 extra shots, like you're more than likely you're going to lose. And Dallas had a chance to win this games because they're a very good team. And so they can overcome a lot of stuff. But it's hard to overcome these things here. These things where you haven't given a team 20 second chance points, and then um where you're shooting 33% from the 3-point line, like that, like come on guys, like we can't win like that, you know. Turnovers were decent, but we gave up almost 60 points in the paint. It was It was just it's crazy. And then the biggest glare of it all is we're not getting any help from the bench. Like, you know, we're not getting any help from the bench. I don't. No one on the bench had over 6 points. That's ridiculous. Nobody had over 6 points on the bench. I'm sorry. If you playing 10 or more minutes, especially if you're a guard, you need to have over 6 points. Like Najee Marshall played 22 minutes. He gave you 4 points. Either you're gonna be giving points or you're gonna be strapping something. And evidently you wasn't strapping nothing because they was scoring. So like we need you to contribute somewhere. Either you're gonna be locking down on defense or you're gonna be putting up points. But man, what did you see?
Man, a lot of the same things that you did see, man. They started out the same way they've been starting out. Pretty much all the games this series, lackadaisical, no effort. I mean, really no effort. Wasn't going for any loose balls, allowing all these offensive rebounds, man. I mean, it was awful, man. No ball movement. In the first half, man, it was a lot of uh taking up bad shots, which was really huge, man, because you know what bad shots turn into. They turn into turnovers and fast break points. And before you know it, they was down 20 or close to 20. And when you get in a hole like that and you already not shooting it well, that's a recipe for disaster. Yes, they got back in the game and they got it close, but majority of that game, man, it was not close. Um, they wanted it more. We didn't deserve to win. By no means. Yeah, it was interesting, but we didn't do the things that was needed to win. The things that are required to win. I don't know if we just thought they was gonna come in and roll over or what, but it was just a recipe for disaster tonight.
I think Dylan Brooks said it best in his pros game. Like they really wanted this game. Like they wanted this game because they felt like they had something to prove. And so they coming out with a certain type of energy, and Dallas is coming out very lethargic, like going through the motions, like like I was telling John, like they're going through this thing with a certain arrogance, a certain cachet, like yeah, we the Western Conference champs, like yeah, we gonna get back there automatically instead of coming out trying to earn it every night. And like last year do not matter. Like that's over with. It's a new season. What you did last year is out the water. It does not matter. If you do not earn your way back to the Western Conference Finals, you will be at home with this attitude.
Facts.
The rest of these teams that did not make it to the Western Conference Finals are coming in this season with a chip on their shoulder. The Phoenix Suns are moving with a chip on their shoulder because everybody talked about them. Excuse me. The Lakers moving with a chip on their shoulder. You got all these teams are moving with a chip on their shoulder. OKC moving with a chip on their shoulder. Like you got all these teams are moving and playing like they have something to prove. Shoot, the Houston Rockets are playing like they got something to prove. They don't even have a contending team, and they playing like they got something to prove.
That's facts. Nah, man. Yeah, they gotta get it together, man. Getting these, you need to start these games, man. Being focused, man. Being locked in. Um, you know, after even though Luka had 29 tonight, man, it was the way he went about this game, man. His shot selection, shot selection, um, the way he was, arguing back and forth with the refs, like he used to do. I thought he was going to turn over a new leaf this year, being a little bit more mature, or being a year older, a year more in the league. But when you start focusing more just on the ref, man, it affects your game, man. Um, and so he just has to get better shots, man. He has to start moving the ball, man. There were some plays tonight, man, where he missed some open, guys. It was guys that was open, but he wasn't looking, man. He was just kind of locked in on just trying to get his. Um, like I said, and then even if the guy he passed it to didn't take the shot, you get the ball moving. But we lacked a lot of that tonight, and along with turnovers, man. It was, man, that was just awful, man.
This is
Th-
what happens when you miss training camp and preseason. What's wrong with Luca right now? Luca is not in game shape, and so therefore he's taking bailout shots instead of putting his head down and going to the rim.
Facts.
He's taking shots, and his shots are coming up short, and he's not hitting the shots like he normally because his legs are not there. The reason why his legs are not there is because he missed the whole training camp with the injury, and he missed the whole preseason. So it's almost like he's going through training camp right now
Facts.
because while his other teammates were going through training camp, he was sidelined with a calf injury. So he missed the whole training camp and the whole preseason. So now he's trying to get his legs under him and to be able to shoot the style shots that he shoots. And so right now what he has to do is put his head down and go to the rim, but he can't do that because he's not in the shape that he needs to be in. And so he's taking a lot of bailout shots. He's taking a lot of three-pointers. Like, you know, he's not turning that corner and getting to the rim and things like that. So like that's that's on him partially, then partially not because he was injured. So it's not like he just sat out,
Right.
or whatever. Um or they just sat him out like he hurt his calf, so him not being able to condition, is due to that, but you're seeing that the effects of it. Like if you miss all the training camp, I think he only did the last week of training camp.
Yeah, last few
He did the
days.
last week, the last few days of training camp. He did no preseason. Like you're seeing training camp. Like you're seeing it. Now he'll get better as, games and games go on and things like that. But you're seeing it. Like and then two, on the opposite side, what action are you running? What action is Jason Kidd running? Is he still running the single high pick and roll?
Yes.
Then there you go. You run a single high pick and roll. It works if Luca is on his game.
Making a shot. Yeah.
Now, if he's on his game and he's hitting those shots, he's hitting those threes, then yeah, the single high pick and roll is gonna open up the whole floor. It's gonna open up everything because now Luca is being a dual weapon. Now he's hitting shots, and now it opens up so he can make those passes. But when Luca's not hitting shots, guys are gonna stay home and they're gonna let him continue to take those tough shots because he hasn't made them change their defense. Last year, when running a high screen pick and roll, Luca's hitting those shots, they're gonna trap him because he's killing them. Now Lively's eating. Now all these guys are eating because they're trapping. But we're not getting that this year because Luca offensive game has been poor. And so now what Jason Kidd needs to do is start to run more actions like he did the first game, where Luca was a lot more off the ball. They ran a little bit of the triangle, they ran a little bit of the Spain pick and roll, They ran a little bit of Chicago. Like they ran so many different actions to where he was off the ball and everybody was able to kind of get involved into the thing, and Luka didn't have to get everybody involved.
No, that's for sure because you know your bigs is suffering on the offensive end, but on the defense end, man, they got to get it together. Um, they both was in foul trouble tonight, man. Between Gafford and D Live, man, they only had 5 rebounds between the
And
two.
and that's the thing I told you, like that's hurt Dallas is the scoring big, having a big that can score, and having an athletic small forward that can score. So a KD type or having a big that can score. So having a Shangun or a Jokic or a Embiid or a big that can just really flat out score
Yeah,
um has hurt Dallas, and that's just basically on your bigs to just say, "Hey, I'm going to battle."
because
And this is the second game that we've seen this.
it's crazy how PJ Washington had 9 boards by himself. So he almost out rebounded both of them put together. Um, and like I said, when at the beginning of the game, Shangoon was killing us, and then so J Kidd made the adjustment going from third quarter to the fourth, put PJ Washington at the 5, and Shangoon didn't score anymore.
I seen it because he only had 17.
He didn't score anymore. But prior to that, he was getting whatever he wanted with D Live and Gafford out there. And like I said, end up almost fouling both of them out. I mean, you can't keep putting this out like this.
And this is a game where you sorely miss a Maxi Kleber,
Yes, yes.
because now you could play Maxi and PJ
PJ
together,
together. Yep.
and this helps your rebounding, and
Yes.
it helps it helps your defense because now you got two flexible defenders who can guard smalls as well as bigs.
Yeah, if
You
they can
know
switch out on if they try to put them in a pick and roll action, they can
they
actually
can switch.
switch it. So
And so this is a game where you really miss that because our bigs have problems with athleticism and quickness. Like, you know, um, if you're gonna be trying to score down there, they having issues with that, and I don't
so
know if they just need to get stronger or if it's just discipline.
so my question is, why don't they play Markeith Morris? I think in the game tonight he would have kind of came in and uh maybe calmed it down a little bit. Not saying you have to play him big minutes, man, but at least put him out there to see what he can give you, man. Um, Especially the way that Shangun was going tonight, and then your bigs wasn't giving you anything. I would have put him in there before I put Powell in there,
Yeah,
cause
I just think that he waits too long to make adjustments, or he don't make them at all. Like he should have put PJ at the 5 long before.
hmm
Like then when Shangun go out, then you could bring a big back in.
big back end, right?
And then when Shangun come back in, you bring PJ back in. And that's how you make adjustments in game. Like, okay, PJ's guarding him good. We're gonna make sure PJ is on him every time. So
Facts.
when he comes in, PJ, when you see him at the table, you're at the table. Don't wait for me to say, hey, come in. This is how you coach. Like this is how you like, and this is how you get out coached. Like if you see a guy killing you and you have a guy that's stopping him, then you immediately make that change. You immediately make that in the huddle. You tell PJ, "Hey, he's your guy tonight. He on the floor. You're on the
You
floor."
on the floor? Yeah. Facts.
But Jason Kidd doesn't do that. And like you have to understand, like most nights, you don't need to play both bigs. Like that's a matchup depending on the matchup. Like, yeah, some games, yeah, play both of your bigs. But some games you don't need to play both bigs.
Facts.
Some games you do need to go small on your second unit. And it will probably actually help out your second unit scoring as well.
It would. Yeah, it would. Yeah, this is
And I kept telling people talking about, you think we're gonna get another big? I said, no, we don't need another big. If anything, we need to stretch.
yeah, I think that's if we had any holes, that would be the hole there. A stretch 4 or 5 that can come off the bench. Um, almost like a Nas Reed for Minnesota. We need something like that.
Exactly.
Um, but like I said, I believe in Nico. I think Nico kind of see uh what may be the issue there, and he'll make moves. So in Nico we trust. So I don't think it won't go unaddressed or for lack of not trying.
I mean,
Um,
but I think we have the roster. I just think it's not being coached properly. Like Kid is just doing a poor job of coaching. Like if your star player is struggling, run actions. Don't let him don't sit there and watch him drown. Of course he's gonna keep trying. That's in his DNA. That's why he's your star player. He's gonna go down swinging. That's every star. Kobe Bryant did it. Every star does it. They go down swinging. You start to run actions. He see his team down 20. Only thing that's going on in his head, I got to get buckets. That's
facts.
the only thing going down in his head. As a coach, it's your job to say, okay, this is how we're going to get buckets. Then you start to dictate things because now the team is struggling. So you dictate, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is what action we're going to run. We're going to run this action for so and so. Kyrie, we're going to run this action for Clay. You start running actions for different people. And that starts stressing out the defense.
That's facts, man. Yeah, you gotta get more involved. I don't know if he call himself just trying to sit back and see if they're gonna figure it out or try to
You
build
know he
chemistry
do
off of
that.
that. But it's not working, and there's no way
You
that
know he do that mess all the time. I don't call no timeout.
he don't call no timeout. He don't call no challenges because there was a few plays tonight where it was obvious, like if he challenged it'll be overturned. But he just refused to challenge it. I don't know if he thinking that they're gonna roll over or something like rollover minutes or what. But he just refuses to challenge. It could be blatantly obvious, and he will not challenge it.
That's why I said it comes down to coaching. Like we said in the beginning of the season when I told people, like, oh yeah, this roster. I said what it's gonna come down to is if Jason Kidd can coach the roster. Because you have all this talent on this roster. And how can you get the most out of this roster? Can he get the most out of this roster? And so far, he hasn't been. Because we aren't good at anything. We have good pieces, but we haven't been good at anything. Like we're not good at scoring. We're not good at defending. The team ain't playing hard. Like they're not competing every night. Like it ain't, and we're not good at nothing.
Cause ain't no way that Dylan Brooks should have 17 points. And
I
this
mean,
and this
whether
and this
he,
is not for catch and shooting. This is him putting the ball on the floor.
I'm saying whether he had it or not, like The reason why he got that is because he got into a rhythm. Like, the reason why you get into a rhythm is because you start getting easy buckets via fast break, via things like that. If you get an NBA player some rhythm, he begins to cook. Just like Nikhil Alexander for Minnesota last game. He got into a rhythm and almost
Yeah,
brought them back on Dallas.
he
Now
did.
he ain't no prolific. He's not a prolific scorer, but he's like any other basketball player. If you give a rhythm, it seems like you just can't miss. We all been there. If you play sports, if you play ball, you've been there before, where you got into a zone or you got a rhythm, and it just seemed like I just need to get the
Couldn't
ball
miss.
up,
Yeah.
and it's gonna go in. That's why Dylan Brooks got the points he got. It's because he got into a rhythm. Now it's hard to cut the faucet off because he's confident and he got his motion going. He's feeling good about himself. He's not second guessing nothing. And Dallas hadn't got into no rhythm because you're not getting no stops. You're not getting out running. And then you're playing everything probably in the half court.
True. A lot of that.
If you play it in the half court, the game is going to be a lot harder because you're going up against a set defense every single play. And to beat a set defense all game is difficult. Even the worst defenses, it's difficult to beat a set defense every play. That's why fast break points are so critical to get out and run because I'm not going up against a set defense. That's what helped Dallas against Minnesota. Dallas was running. Dallas ran against Minnesota. They ran it on made shots and missed. They was getting that ball out so fast that they was getting easy layups on the other end because Minnesota hadn't got back. That's how important transition basketball is to get out and run. That's how you get shooters going. That's how you get your stars going. Like you get out and run.
No, man, this well, they got a few days off until their next game was Sunday, Sunday evening, Sunday afternoon. So hopefully, they can go through and really dissect the film, watch the film, and really look at the way they've been approaching these games, um, and change that, man, because yeah, you can't just take it for
It's
granted going into these games. And think you can just turn it on and you come back. That's a hard way to play.
it's frustrating because we seen them defend. Like, oh
Mhm.
man, look at them defending. Like they're getting stops after stops after stops. And then we seen them like not give a care.
Mhm.
It's like, yeah, like whatever. Like lazy on defense. You're not up in the guy. You're just letting the guy go around you
Lazy
or
rotations.
lazy rotations, and then you come down on offense, it's bad spacing. Like our spacing was atrocious against
Bad.
Minnesota.
It was bad this game too.
Like our spacing, like has been atrocious. Like yeah, it's gonna be hard to make passes when you got guys stacked on top of each other because that means one guy can guard you because you're so close together. Like you have to be spread out and spaced. So when the ball gets to moving, it really, really shifts the defense. But if you're not spaced out, the defense don't have to shift that much. That's the purpose of spacing, is that when we start passing the ball, the defense has to rotate all the way around and close out. And hopefully you get somebody closing out hard and you could pump fake and penetrate to the into the paint and either get a layup or somebody's open because somebody has to stop you. But our spacing has been putrid, and that's why I go back to it's coaching. Because if we see it, I know you have to see it.
Facts.
I said it against Minnesota game. I was like, man, our spacing is so nasty right now. Like Clay couldn't even get off in Minnesota because the spacing was bad.
And it was just
It's a
oh, go ahead.
it's the reason why he struggled is because like the spacing was like putrid, especially in half court sets. Like our spacing was so putrid, and he couldn't really get off because it was easy to recover to him because guys were so close together. And like the last play of the game, where Luke, well, not the last play, but at the in the moments where Luca hit the big three against Minnesota, like if it wasn't for Luca heroics, like that was a bad play because of spacing.
Yeah,
Because PJ and Clay were so close together that
PJ
had
shouldn't have
Luca,
brought his man. He should have stayed in the
well,
corner.
PJ supposed to have dived to the rim
Right.
because he was the outlet for the dive.
Dive, right.
Clay Clay was flaring out. So if Luca had a passed out of that, if they had they trapped him, and they would have won that possession had they trapped him. Because if Luca had a passed it out of there, it would have the one defender could have guarded both of them because they were so close
So
together.
close together. Yep. No, man, that was still the same case tonight. For Clay. Like the shots he was hitting at the end, like it was contested. It could due to the bad spacing. I mean, he still hit them, but it was the spacing was just is awful, man. So that's definitely should be at the top of their list to get figured out because what good is an all-time great shooter if you don't have the space, and the spacing is bad. Um, yeah, man, it was just it's a lot of things that they need to work on, especially in regards to their approach to this game, man, for sure. Um, yeah, this is not gonna get it. It's not gonna get it. Get it done, especially in this Western Conference, man. This Western Conference, man. You got like you said, you got teams. They got something to prove, so they not coming in laying over. They gonna bring it to you, and if you're not ready for them to bring it to you, and so you can bring it back, this you gonna get down by 20, and you gonna find yourself trying to scratch and claw back like you did the last two games. Yeah, the Minnesota game, yeah, we edged that one out, but it's still the same approach as it was tonight. You just happened to get over the hump last night. But yeah, that it just can't keep happening like this.
It's just kid mentality of like, well, they're gonna figure it out. It's like, no, you're the coach.
You
Like
figure it out.
address the issues and fix them. Like when they run actions, it helps the spacing
Hmm.
because when you set up plays, guys are going to a certain space, so it automatically space guys out. But when you're just running high pick and roll, single high pick and roll, like the spacing is bad because you got a guy on the wing, and then you got Lively who's diving, and with Luca not shooting the ball well, now the guy is able to get back into the play because Luca's trying to get to the rim,
Yeah.
and now it negates the alley oop and negates Luca. The single high pick and roll do not need to be ran until Luca is hitting the 3-point shot because that's the only thing that hurts a team when you're running single high pick and roll is that the player can hit that shot.
And he's taking way too many threes right now. I mean, just way too many. I mean, I know he's still trying to get his legs under him, but it's costing the team, man. Like I said earlier, man, those bad shots, man, especially with threes, those long rebounds, you know, people flaring out, and that's an easy bucket for the other team, man. He can't until he get his legs from under him, man. He need to cut down on some of them threes, man. Because it's I mean, it's costly, man.
I mean, what do you do when you're tired?
Yeah, that's
Like 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 if you play ball, like when you get tired, you're not driving no more. You sitting out there shooting. You out
man,
there jacking up shots.
you need to get on that treadmill, man, and or a bike or something, man, and get that cardio back up, man. Because what he, like I said, what he's doing is that's it's been a detriment to the
Now
team,
now
man.
the way he plays in the end of the game
Yeah,
is the way you want him to start. Like
start
what
the
he
game.
did in what he did in Minnesota game, where he's getting into the paint and he's taking those little middies. Like that's what you want him to start off with.
Mhm.
Now, if he started the game off that way, I guarantee you he'll get rhythm
Facts.
as the game go. And that's how he hit that big three at the end because he had rhythm.
Oh man, this
But this
disappointing.
was a big letdown game, man. This is a team that you're supposed to beat. The Rockets will not be in the playoffs. You're supposed
Yeah,
to beat all non-playoff teams, man.
facts. You supposed to stack these type of wins.
You know, but we'll see what adjustments are made, man, and we'll see what happens. What Jason Kidd comes up with, how they come out with. Um, we need to see if the team is going to be fired up, if they're going to come out locked in. Man. But we'll be here Sunday, man. We'll let that be known, sports, man. Like, share, subscribe, man. We'll be going live Sunday, man, after the Cowboys game, man. So, check in with your boys.
Most definitely, man. Like, share, and subscribe. Peace out.
Yeah, yeah.